And so if we look at those two categories, dual citizens and foreign citizens, what sort of people would be worthy of being involuntarily deported? That's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about self-deportation. We're talking about involuntary deportation of those people. And they would fall into 5 categories. And the first category is what's called inadmissible asylum seekers. That's people who rock up at Dover and you say to them, you're not getting in just because we don't like your face. It could be as easy as that, because it is within British law and it is within UN refugee law that we can simply say that an asylum claim is inadmissible, even if that person is a genuine refugee. We can do that. The only requirement upon us is that we don't send that person back to some place where he or she is in danger. But we can say you're inadmissible. That is, we can say to them, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And these are people who can be involuntarily deported someplace else that agrees to take them within the UN Refugee Convention. So that's inadmissible asylum seekers can be deported to what's called safe third countries, whether that's back to France or whether it's to Rwanda or Ascension Island or wherever. And we should be doing that a lot more, obviously. The second category of person is failed asylum seekers, which is people who have come in at Dover and we've said, okay, we are going to admit your claim, we're going to investigate it, and we're going to make a decision on it. And of course, that can take weeks, months, usually years, unfortunately. And if we decide at the end of the day that no, you don't have a case, your asylum claim is now officially ended, you have to leave. And these people can be encouraged to self-deport. They can, in my view, they should be given money to leave. They don't have to go home, but they can't stay here, is the phrase. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Or they should be involuntarily deported if they're not going to play ball. So that's the second category, failed asylum seekers. The third category is what we call clandestine illegals. That is people who have snuck in, they've avoided the proper ports of entry, they've broken the British law of entry. We've found them and we've said, what you've done is not acceptable, you have to get out of here. Clandestine illegals. That's the third category. The fourth category is visa breaching illegals. That's people who have come in legally on a work visa or a student visa. And on these visas, it properly tells you what you can and can't do. And it will also give you the date at which that visa ends. And what you find with visa breaching illegals mainly is that these are people who have stayed on after their visa ended and their presence in Britain is now illegal. They have to go home. They have to be encouraged to self-deport. That's the first option. And if they won't self-deport, they have to be involuntarily moved out of the country. And what you'll also find with some visa breaching illegals is that they came in as a student, they're on a student visa, but they're actually been caught working. That would also be considered in breach of their visa. That would also be considered as an illegal act that they had done. And because they've broken their visa that way, they have to leave as well. So visa breaching illegals can be people who have breached their visas, the terms of their visa, or the length of their visa. And the fifth one is the one that people are really always focused on, which is the foreign criminals. That's people who have been convicted, and it has to be 12 months or more, who are not citizens of the United Kingdom, but they're citizens of another country. They've come here for whatever reason, and they've committed a crime. They've been sentenced to 12 months or more. They are meant to be, under current law, they're meant to be deported. Some of them are deported, but many more of them need to be deported at the end of their sentence, however long their sentence may be. And what you find with a lot of them is these are the people who are making human rights claims, saying that they've been in the country now, they've been in prison for 10 years, but they've married and, you know, they've got family commitments here and so on. So these are the ones who tend to be allowed to stay. Unfortunately, it's the foreign criminals. Of all the ones, they're the ones that get almost the best deal in some respects. But no, they need to be shifted out as well. 100%, they need to be shifted out. So